The YouTuber SunnyV2 is losing subscribers and trending on Twitter due to a controversial video he uploaded a couple days ago talking about how MrBeast's friend Chris making the decision to start hormone replacement therapy might end up damaging MrBeast's brand. I already made a video laughing at how absurd that video was, so now that you guys have seen my reaction to it, let's check out everybody else's reaction on Twitter. Nicholas Diorio posts a clip of the video and captions it by saying, "I just spit my drink out laughing. Chris really didn't stop and think about how his usage of HRT to be more comfortable in his body would affect MrBeast's bottom line. Laughing my fucking ass off."
The only clean solution should things go south might be for Chris to resign himself, and even then rumors and bad press will be unavoidable. Whether it be arrogance or ignorance, Chris seems oblivious to how this whole thing might impact Jimmy, forgetting that he achieved his current level of success by avoiding this exact type of drama.
AugRFC quote tweets him and says, "Yeah, Chris transitioning will have no impact on MrBeast's career. I'm surprised SunnyV2 doesn't know this, given that his whole channel is explaining the rise and fall of people, but social media just does not care about anything that you think they do." Hopper says, "SunnyV2's video is gross. I don't consume MrBeast content, but calling an actual real person an over-the-top LGBTQ character like it was a brand choice is insane. Also using transphobic morons' comments on Twitter to validate this weird essay he pulled out of his ass." Harley TBS says, "This is one of the most embarrassingly invasive and weird videos I've ever seen. What the fuck, lol?" The Beak responds by saying, "A common trend you'll see in Sunny's videos is that everything has to be about YouTube and the grind. If you ever do anything for your personal enrichment, you are always wrong apparently. It's really weird." Harley responds, "He's got this increasingly terminally online mentality that everything and anything you do has to be for views, or else it was a waste of your time, and will ruin your entire career, your friends' careers, and your life. He needs a reality check." Elvis the Alien says, "What a horrible piece of shit video this is. Why would MrBeast care at all about appealing to transphobes?" Zeppy responds by saying, "The video is more than that. It talks about how MrBeast has been put in an inescapable situation, where in all outcomes he will lose a fraction of his audience because of how Chris decided to handle this." Elvis responds, "Why would MrBeast, literally the most successful creator on the planet, care about losing transphobic viewers?" TheQuartering says, "Everyone shitting and pissing themselves over the SunnyV2 video, pointing out the obvious fact that the MrBeast channel will have to deal with the bullshit over the trans stuff, are kind of proving his point. MrBeast has a very young, impressionable audience. If the person just goes about shit as usual, it will be fine. MrBeast brand has done an amazing job of remaining mostly apolitical and non-controversial. I totally respect the dude riding with his friend, but the culture war bullshit will now taint his video comment sections, etc." He then shows a picture of the opening 1000 mystery art boxes stream from the MrBeast 2 channel and says, 144,000 dislikes. That's likely more than all other MrBeast videos combined. Asmongold says, "How is it that people have nothing better to do than micromanage and maud about the lifestyles of content creators? It's exhausting how opinionated internet users are about the personal lives of people they'll never meet. Holy fuck." Marsupial Gamer responds to him by saying, "That's his whole channel. What's so special about this one video among the hundreds of other videos where he does the same thing?" Zach responds, "I was critical of his video regarding Ninja and another Minecraft YouTuber for the same reason. I think in those videos as well as this one, Sunny inaccurately paints a shift in lifestyle or priorities as a failure by reducing a person down to YouTube analytics." Volpine Voice responds to Asmongold by saying, "Crazy," and then showing that he's done reaction videos on SunnyV2 content. Zach responds by saying, "I'm sure you think you're very clever, but if you already watched these videos, you know I'm saying the same thing as I did in the tweet." Matt says, "Didn't even know about Chris from MrBeast till SunnyV2's corny ass video popped up into my recommended. I can't imagine trying to dissect someone else's life choices that hard. It's a dude who no longer vibes with the label of being a dude. Why did that need a 9-minute video? Dude said it's hurting MrBeast's business. I wish I was hurting with 1 billion views per month." Dumbsville shows this clip from SunnyV2's video with the caption, "Holy fucking shit, SunnyV2 cannot be fucking serious. You know that Chris is a real human being and not a fake Hollywood movie character, right? What are the implications of this? Sorry to every trans person out there, but if you were trans, you were forcing it like Hollywood."
And if we've learned anything from Hollywood in recent years, it's that adding over-the-top LGBT characters for the sake of relatability rarely works as intended, and is often nothing more than a distraction from the premise of the movie or video.
Dumbsville continues by saying, "This is unironically one of the worst points I've ever seen in a YouTube video. I'm not exaggerating. Jesus Christ. I've struggled with autism my whole life, and I can't think of a bigger retard than SunnyV2 right now. Mango Facts responds to Dumbsville by saying, SunnyV2 walking into his parents' room while they fucking to complain about the unnecessary sex scene. Jay Aubrey says, this is one of the most dogshit videos I've ever seen. Sunny's conclusion practically blames Chris for not taking the MrBeast brand into account before transitioning, laughing my ass off. Imagine showing such little regard for the welfare of a human being. Mysticat responds by saying, this isn't the first time I've seen negative trans comments from that creator. Harley from Epic Mealtime says, I saw the thumbnail on Twitter. I didn't think this was a real video. Facepalm emoji. Mudahar says, I watched this whole video all the way through, and it's tough. I thought being an adult meant you could do whatever you wanted without it hurting anyone else. I'm sure Chris discussed all of this with the closest people in their life. In the end, they're just living their life. Vosh responds by saying, it's crazy. They'll pretend to support personal choice and free expression, but it's just really obvious they don't want anyone to be trans, and they'll throw out whatever bullshit they can to keep them socially stigmatized. Braden says, I'm a day one hater of SunnyV2, and proud of it. When the random e-celeb you dislike for just being dumb and annoying and unfunny finally is outed for a legitimate reason to dislike them. Dubus Goobus says, SunnyV2 is the kind of person to say Laxadaisy Pilot is worse than a Cocomelon Bath song purely because the other has more views, and then would try to find an extremely weak connection to Lackadaisy and Zoophilia because it has furries. Focusing on drama and stats rots your brain. Emily says, this video is quite exemplary of the dogshit way trans people are treated by society, especially on SunnyV2's part. Too Mad says, SunnyV2 can shut the fuck up! Right-Wing Cope says, Chris seems oblivious on how this whole thing might impact Jimmy, forgetting that he's achieved this level of success by avoiding this exact type of drama. Absolute brain rot. SunnyV2 thinks being friends with a queer person is drama. This is the type of dude who would get mad at his kid for dating a black person. Wisp says, SunnyV2 after having one of the best rise in popularity, and then hopelessly lose it because he made the worst title for a video about a drama that doesn't even exist. Dark Viper AU says, SunnyV2 has long been the merchant of misery on YouTube. He chases it, he creates it, he feeds off it. Seeing SunnyV2's fanboys defend him is wild. He could release a video about how many dudes MrBeast's mum banged in college, and they'd say, bro, he's just reporting facts! Often much of what Sunny says is bullshit, but even if that wasn't true, some videos don't need to exist. Melty says, SunnyV2 after finding out why he's trending on Twitter. Quobocop says, how SunnyV2 ruined his career with one video. And then Poorly Aged Things tweets out the video that SunnyV2 made a month ago, titled, YouTubers who ruined their image with one single video. Relolan says, this new SunnyV2 video feels really invasive for all the wrong reasons. Like, why did you make this? You delved into the man's marriage and shit. It's just really off-putting and unnecessary. MrBeast then responds to this by saying, yeah, this is getting absurd. Chris isn't my nightmare. He's my fucking friend. And things are fine. All this transphobia is starting to piss me off. Relolan replies by saying, yeah, hope things turn out better for you all. Keep you friends close. Connor Boyack responds to MrBeast by saying, it's not a phobia that most have. It's a concern for what is appropriate to expose children to and normalize in society. The Needle Drop responds by saying, what you think is indoctrination, exposure, and normalization is just trans people fucking existing in reality, dude. Jarvis says, go the fuck off, Jimmy. To which Rinrin responds, I was so confused for a hard 2 minutes before I realized you were telling him to go off and not go fuck off. Quite says, you are the GOAT. Ian Miles Chung says, if you care about him, you won't let him ruin his life. That isn't transphobia. That is a statement of fact. Subby responds by saying, he's my fucking friend? Showing a picture of Chris now looking feminine, implying that MrBeast should call him she. Dylan Marshall says, refreshing to see some true friendship in the influencer space. Too many of these clout seekers are fake friends. Is Queer says, thanks for having your friends back. Coming out under the public eye is scary enough. Glad they have you as a friend who continues to be there for them. Tommy says, a lot of respect for people having their friends back like you were doing with Chris. The amount of misinformation and out of context edits going viral is disgusting. I Am Bladeless says, this really hurts me. As a man of faith, God says to love everyone, period. No exceptions. Chris, if you're reading this, just know you're loved by family, friends, and God. Ignore the noise of hate. Your journey is your own. Just know it's going to be okay. Jay responds by saying, phew. Originally read this way wrong. Props to you for actually comprehending Christ's teachings. Cloudy quote tweets MrBeast and says, MrBeast is evolving. If he keeps this up, in 5 years, his videos are gonna be like, I bought 1 million workers the means of their own production, with a thumbnail of him pogging over some CEO's grave. Omni shows MrBeast's response and captions it by saying, why SunnyV2 will soon be a nightmare for SunnyV2 incoming. Vosh responds to MrBeast by saying, reactionary YouTubers pushing MrBeast to become a public advocate for trans rights has got to be one of the biggest transphobia backfires in recent memory. Young edgy dipshits usually get pulled into transphobia because trans people are framed as ruinous, monolithic other. Now for millions of kids, their first encounter with trans people will be watching epic YouTuber MrBeast defend his trans friend from evil freaks. Ethan Klein says, I love MrBeast being a good friend and ally. Tim Pool says, is Chris going by she/her pronouns now? Swamp Communist says, MrBeast has now entered the his pronouns are she/her stage. ER says, you know he was absolutely bum-rushed with replies pointing this out within milliseconds of posting. He could have edited it, he chose not to. Nat ratios ER and says, MrBeast used he/him pronouns for someone that goes by any pronouns. What an absolute buffoon! BWC says, the he used the wrong pronouns tweets from this are so weird because not only are they publicly displayed by Chris, but MrBeast literally talks to them. Like, the pair would have talked about this, and Chris would have communicated how they'd like to be addressed. Dick Masterson says, liberals. Fuck MrBeast, he cured blind people. Conservatives. Fuck MrBeast, he didn't disavow and publicly shame his longtime friend and co-worker. Beardson says, your buddy destroyed his family and dresses like a girl now. But yeah, it's all this gosh darn transphobia that's the problem. Dara says, it is incredibly powerful that someone as influential as MrBeast, with the audience he does have, takes a stance like this. I hope this goes past his Twitter. I want to see how hard he can champion for trans rights. Someone with the sheer magnitude he has is capable of changing people. Anti-War Devil says, be prepared. Showing a MrBeast video titled, I hunt 100 transphobes. Dame Peso says, look how all these Twitter right-wingers made the most popular YouTuber be against them. Good job, retards. It has never been right versus left, or woke versus anti-woke. It is always live and let live people versus live like I tell you to live Karens. Ostonox says, there's nothing more radicalizing than seeing the entire reactionary internet come together to call your friend a monster for trying to be happy. The Cath Guy says, MrBeast has chosen to double down on this. Let's see how his brand survives. Why do you force us normal people to play along with your delusions? Jenny Tightpants says, the transphobes have awoken the beast. Hack Nicholson says, how long until a MAGA guy refers to this as the mark of the beast, showing MrBeast's logo? Hassan Nabi says, trans people get shit on in the most deranged ways for simply existing. Now they done fucked up and made MrBeast mad. The Rocket Ralph says, SunnyV2, Chris is selfish for not thinking about how being transgender is a nightmare for MrBeast's career. MrBeast, showing his response. Elijah Schaefer says, MrBeast's channel and reputation as apolitical kids content is over. Chris ruined everything. And that's about it for the discussion around SunnyV2's new video on MrBeast's friend Chris taking hormone replacement therapy. Do you think that MrBeast's content is ruined now? Do you think SunnyV2's video was transphobic? Do you think it was just bad? Do you think it had some good points? Whatever opinion you have on SunnyV2's video or this topic as a whole, I would love to hear it in the comment section below. If you want to hear about my opinion on the video, I think it's bad, I think it's dumb, and I made a whole video laughing at it, so if you want to watch that, you can click on it on the end card right now, and you can also subscribe if you want to see more content like this. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in another video.